and I'm going to give him a little bit of introduction, and then he's going to tell you everything else about him and what he does. So let me start by saying he's on the show because I used his services, and I was so impressed with what I learned from his services that I thought I needed to bring it to the radio show and let you guys listen to what he has to say and see if it will be a benefit to you. So, Kyle, without further ado, I'm going to let you take the reins and just tell the listening audience everything that you do, that you did for me, and that you could help them in the process. Kyle Bias, thank you.
Very good, Donnell. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity to explain what we do and how we helped you out, at least so far at the process. But no, my name's Kyle. I am an energy auditor. I work for a company actually based in Pennsylvania, but our work is located in Maryland and in BG&E, Pepco, and SMECO territories. But we're discussing mostly BG&E territory where you're located and your listeners are mostly located. So what we're talking about is a home performance inspection. It is a BG&E electric program, and what we do is we are a subcontractor for them. I would be an energy auditor that would come in and do an inspection for the program. It is a $100 audit fee. The actual cost is a $400 value, but the utility covers the other $300. I'm coming in, I'm looking for energy saving opportunities, insulation, air sealing. We're looking for HVAC equipment replacements, upgrades, water heaters, those kinds of things. But we're trying to save folks money and trying to make their home more energy efficient and just make it a more comfortable place for them to stay. So there's some more details involved in that, but I think we'll get to some of that as we move forward there. Was there something specific you wanted to start with, Donnell?
No, I think that you opened it up very well in terms of, what your company does and how long you've been doing it. You've covered the territory that you cover. So how long have you been a part of this program that's connected in some kind of way with BG&E?
Honestly, just for me, it's just been a little over 2 years that I've been associated with the program, working for my company, Care Property Services. But I've been doing weatherization inspections, and I've been an energy auditor since 2008. I actually started back in Ohio and Indiana, and then moved myself out here back in 2018. So this has been a new process for me, but I really enjoy showing homeowners, talking to homeowners, explaining to them, what some opportunities might be for them to save some of that money. Just from a newer home standpoint, just like you're discussing and you're displaying your process as far as the home sales and home buying and things like that. Even a 6 or an 8 or a 10-year-old home has potential savings opportunities available to them. So a lot of times when the builders are building these homes, they're putting them up and they're doing a great job with the construction, but they don't really consider the air sealing opportunities or the energy saving opportunities for that house. Now, some houses are built that way as far as if they're Energy Star homes from the get-go, then yeah, they're addressing some of those issues. But we just come in, we're looking at the house, I get in the attic, crawling around, looking for opportunities where their holes might be. Same things in basements, crawl spaces. We check for wall insulation, just all those different kinds of opportunities. And it's a great process. It's a great learning process for the homeowners themselves at a fairly decent price, and you get a lot of information out of it.
Well, I know that I did. There were some things that you did that was thoroughly surprising to me, and it showed me where I was losing energy in my current home. So the system that you use, Kyle, where you put the fan in the front door, can you explain what that does for a home and how you help you determine the energy efficiency of the home based on that?
Absolutely. What you're talking about is called a blower door test. It's a frame that I put up in the door with a red panel on it, and it's got a fan that I attach to it to a manometer, which is a device that reads the pressure flow in the house, and we depressurize the house. And what that really means is an exaggeration of air hitting the house. They say 20-mile-an-hour wind hitting the house from all sides at the same time. So it gives us that extra air coming through. So when that test is going, and actually I did the same thing at your house, Donnell, is used an infrared camera while that fan is running, and you can walk around with that, and you can see the penetrations and the air infiltration that potentially windows and light fixtures and outlets and switches and things like that in your home actually are allowing to come through. Again, it's an exaggeration, but it's a great indicator on where those losses are occurring from. And what we did... Sorry?
Go ahead, Calvin. Sorry.
No worries. And what we did that day, as I explained with you, was that while that test is running, you can take your hand up to a light switch or an outlet, and you can actually feel air coming from that, even in an interior wall, because a lot of times those walls are connected all the way up into the attic and or into a basement or a crawl space. And those are the things that we highlight to take care of, air seal, then throw insulation on top of that. And that's where you get a lot of your savings from on that front.
Well, that was the amazing piece for me, that you could just take this machine that you had, it was a handheld machine, and show me where it lit up red, and it could tell me that was where energy loss was, in addition to just putting my hand on the window area, and I could feel the air being sucked through the front door.
Right. Yep. No, that infrared camera is a key piece. It's a key tool to have in the audit process, because it is and it's good to show the homeowners that, because I can tell you all day long that you're losing air through a light fixture or an outlet or a door. But if I show it to you and you can physically see it, then it just hits home a little bit better. It's just a better indicator, and it's a great tool.
So, listening audience, if you have a question for Kyle, you can call into the studio right now, and he can address your question or concern. The number to call into the studio is 410-465. I'm sorry, I'm giving my office number. The studio number is 410-481-1010. Again, call in at 410-481-1010. And if you're uncomfortable with calling in and talking over the air, you certainly can call my office. That number is 410-465-0083. And we will put you in touch with Kyle. Again, that number is 410-465-0083. That's the number to call the office. But we welcome your call right now to talk directly with Kyle and see if he can answer your question. I'm sure he can. The number to call into the studio, 410-481-1010. Again, it's 410-481-1010. And you can call in right now and ask your question over the air, and Kyle will address it for you.
Absolutely. And just a couple other things, Donnell, too, that folks might be curious about. There's really no great requirement to be available to get the process done. There's a few things that you must have an active residential account through BG&E. You have to have the energy audit performed by a participating contractor, such as myself. There are other contractors out there, but we're not promoting them today. And then having those audit diagnostics done, performed, a report sent to you that shows you the cost of the things that I would propose, and then the potential rebate that BG&E is willing to offer for specific measures that we do. And that being said, the availability is you're allowed up to $7,500 rebate and or 75% of the cost of the job, depending on which is greater, obviously, and to help save you energy. So, yeah, that with the $100 fee for the audit, and you can get all that information, and it's just good stuff to have. There are a couple things that we talked about previously. Standalone homes we work with, townhomes we work with. We could not do the apartment style living with no attic and or basement. Those are not eligible in the program. So I just wanted to throw that out there for your listeners as well. Those are kind of the criteria that you have to meet.
Well, they can use the program because if they call us and buy a house, then you can use the program on the house that they buy. So that's a good opportunity to help And a good reason to help you to stop renting and go ahead and buy, and then Kyle could do the test on a new home that you buy. And for you sellers that currently own homes, if you wanted to get Kyle to do this inspection on your home, it could help you with getting it ready for the market to sell. There's no time limit for you to sell the house after Kyle's performance services, as well as when he gives the if you get a rebate, you still can turn around and sell the house right away. Correct, Kyle?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're not potentially stopping any of that sales, and obviously it would probably help the sale knowing that it had been upgraded from maybe 3 inches of insulation in the attic to 20 inches of insulation in the attic. So those things are certainly helpful. Absolutely.
So I've seen many of home inspectors when they go into the attic and see that there's a limited amount of installation in the attic. Some of you that you've been in the house for a long time and the insulation get matted down and it requires a fresh coat of insulation. This is part of what this program offers. And if you can get that kind of work done and then get a rebate for it, it's going to help you with reselling the home that you're currently in. So, again, if you have any questions, feel free to pick up the phone now and call into the studio. That number is 410-481-1010. Again, it's 410-481-1010. And you can ask your question directly of Kyle. Go ahead, Kyle.
And Donnell, while you're throwing out information, if you're willing to let me do mine as well, our website that folks can go to as well to reference the program, reference our company at Care Property Services is callcarefirst.com/radio. And you can get onto that site and check things out. And we also have a phone number that you can certainly reach out to us as well. It's 888-243-1936. And again, our company is based in Pennsylvania, but the work that we do, every inspection that I do is all in the state of Maryland. So don't feel like just because we're in PA that it's going to drive costs up or anything like that. It's a program that we've been doing for a while, and that's just the area that we cover. So it's absolutely a great program, great opportunity to get some information for your home, and hopefully there's something that you'd be interested in that you can get that rebate for. Oh, and while we're speaking about the rebate, folks have asked this in the past, and I don't even know if you might have asked. So when we're offering the rebate, clients will ask, do they have to apply for the rebate themselves? And the answer to that for our company is no, that we get the rebate applied to us, but what we do is we just take that dollar amount off of the full price. So just to throw some numbers out there, if it was a $3,000 job and your rebate was going to be $1,500, you're only going to pay the $1,500. We'll get the other $1,500 from actually BG&E after the job is completed. So that takes a little bit of stress off of homeowners too, takes a little bit of money, not less money out of their pocket than what you normally would pay. So hopefully that's a benefit to folks as well.
So, Kyle, while you're on that rebate piece, why don't we talk about what it takes to qualify to get the rebate? Is there any age limit? Is there any income limit? Or what about where the house is located at? Is there any restrictions in those areas?
Not so much restrictions as far as where the house is located. As far as the program goes, I mean, again, what I described a little bit ago, as long as you're a standalone house or a townhome, obviously not the apartment style, but yeah, to receive the rebates, BG&E's take on that is that the attic plane has to be insulated and air sealed to achieve or to receive a rebate. And that's just common sense, because that's the highest point in the house. That's where you're going to lose most of your energy through, whether it be a light fixture, even drywall, that kind of stuff. So the attic plane has to be addressed to receive the rebates. And then ultimately, if there is a request or a need for mechanical ventilation, that would also be another requirement. Again, that's a health and safety issue, so we don't have moisture issues in the house after we've tightened it up, and then you don't have bad indoor air quality, that kind of stuff. And I can expound a little bit on the mechanical ventilation. If you have obviously, if you have a bathroom, you've got a fan in it that exhausts the air out of that bathroom and out of the house. It needs to be vented out of the attic too, not just into the attic, because that would also create moisture issues. So what our process is, if we get a house to a specific tightness and energy standard, that might require us to install a smart switch on a fan like that, where that even in the off position, that fan's going to kick on and off a few minutes every hour to help alleviate those other issues, the indoor air quality, the bad or the moisture issues, that kind of stuff. So those are the two main points as far as receiving a rebate if it's required, and then everything else is something that you can kind of pick and piece as to what you would like to do.
So one of the things that I wanted you to hit on, Kyle, is that it's not income driven, so it's not based on what your income, whether you were qualified for this rebate. It's not based on the individual's age. It just has to do with the services that are needed determines whether the rebate is applicable or not. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, it's not an income-based process in any way, shape, or form. Obviously, it's a for-profit side of our company that folks obviously want to pay for the inspection to be done. Obviously, the homeowner would then pay for the work to be done, and then the rebate comes back off of that. But yeah, the two main things, again, was just to have that active residential account and then to have that inspection done by a qualified participating contractor, again, such as myself. So, and then, of course, everything after that would be just the benefit of the information that you're going to get off of that.
All right, very good. And the other thing I want to bring out is that it doesn't matter where the house is or the age of the home. It could be Baltimore City, County, Howard County. It doesn't matter. Kyle, would you expound on that?
Yeah, so we cover different territories as well. I mean, no, we're talking about BG&E's territory right now, but we also cover Pepco territory and Delmarva territory for the home performance side of this process. And again, just because we're based in PA, that's where we still do our work, is in those counties and in those utility situations. And all those utilities are offering the same process. Their savings, their rebates might change minimally depending on the territory, but no, it doesn't matter the age of the home. Again, it was just those requirements that I explained a little bit ago. And yeah, even, like I said a little bit ago, even a newer home, builders aren't always looking for that energy saving stuff, to air seal a wall top or to air seal around a light fixture that's going through into an attic space, things like that. And those are the things that we hit on, we key on, and that's kind of what the process is about, is getting you that energy savings and taking some of that usage off the grid. That helps the utility company. It helps the homeowner, saves them money, keeps that money in their pocket. So, yeah, it's a great process.
Yeah, well, I tell you, I was impressed with what it had to offer me, because I had no clue as to what my energy loss was. But the full report, the written report, as well as the explanation that Kyle gave me during the time that he was initially walking through my home, was very, very informative. And I think that all of you should consider taking advantage of this program. The only thing that you have to lose is $100. That's right. I certainly got that back just by Kyle sharing some things with me about where my energy loss was within the home. And I'm going to give this number again because I want you to be able to ask you a specific question of Kyle. If you had any, you can call into the studio right now and ask this question. The number is 410-481-1010. Again, it's 410-481-1010. And you can ask your specific question to Kyle and see how we can get you on board.
Hello, Donnell. How are you? Good morning, Kyle.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Robin. Good morning.
How are you? Oh, yeah. It's always a pleasure to be on board.
So I don't know how much you heard, but Kyle, let me let you know that Robin is a co-host of mine that works for Residential Title. And Robin, for your information, Kyle is contractor that does energy inspection of homes, so that you guys will know who each other are. I'm sorry for this late introduction, but it's all good.
Oh, no apologies needed. Kyle, very nice to make your acquaintance. And I didn't hear a lot of the show because I was on an appointment or some appointments this morning. But what information I did hear is very informative. And the piece that I would like to ask a question about, and as I said, I just caught on to it just a little while ago. Kyle, you mentioned something about builders in various aspects of a home that they may not focus in on. So if someone was buying a new home, did you suggest or recommend that they still have someone from your company or yourself come out and take a look at that home as well, just to make sure that it's very energy efficient? I just would like you to recap on that because, as I said, I came into it late in terms of hearing what you had to say.
Understood. First off, and it was nice to meet you as well, Robin. Thank you for that.
Likewise.
And great question. So a little bit of yes and a little bit of no on that. So yes, if somebody wants to buy a new home and to get a perspective of what is going on in that home as far as lack of energy savings or air loss or things like that, absolutely we would be a candidate to come in and do an inspection for that. Ideally then, from our standpoint, obviously we would like you to move forward and correct some of those issues. So I don't want to just sell it as just a prerequisite to buying a home, but then obviously the outlook is to help save the money in that home that either you're potentially going to buy and or sell. It's going to help on either front. But yeah, the areas in some of the areas that we're looking at. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No. Go ahead. It's great that you offer that because I'm just thinking from the standpoint of all of the extra amenities that are provided when you purchase a new home, especially if it's a new construction. And oftentimes I think everyone becomes bedazzled, for lack of a better term, with all of the great features in the home. And, for a service that you provide, someone may not necessarily be thinking about that in terms of the level of efficiency because they have all of the other items within the home that are brand new. So I think that that's a great feature and a great service that you provide. And it's something that people should also consider when they're buying a new home and not necessarily on a resale side.
Yeah, no, you make a perfect point with that because you're going in to look at a home and what you're explaining is you see all the great features that it has, whether it has a nice bathtub, a nice walk-in shower, whatever that might be. Whereas I'm going to come in and look at it from a building standpoint, a behind the drywall standpoint, if you will, that homeowners aren't looking for or looking at. And we talked about this previously. So a house that has potential overhang from a second floor down to a first floor. Those floor joists go out over that first floor by 2 or 3 feet usually. And sometimes there's air loss up through there. So a lot of folks don't realize that until I get out there and I explain it to them. I show them that test that Donnell and I were talking about previously. And to show them that information and get them involved in thinking, wow, the house is great, the setup is great, but hey, there's some potential for heat loss here. There's potential for a higher bill here if we don't do something for that. So no, that's a great estimation on that.
Yeah, and Robin, that's a great thought. I hadn't even thought about that because, Kyle, I do sell a lot of new homes, brand new homes. So if they're in the home and you do your energy audit and discover areas of air loss, they could even go back to the builder and get the builder to pay for their portion of the work, or get the builder to come in and address it.
Understood. Yeah, and that's not a bad point either. And again, that's partly part of our concept as well. Other than just doing the inspection, we also perform that work as well. And to have a builder, now I don't want to discourage what you're saying, Donnell, but on kind of how I described it a little bit ago, that so the energy audit has to be done by a participating contractor. the work also has to be performed by a participating contractor. It can't just be Cousin Eddie down the street to come in and do the work and you get the rebates. It has to be somebody in that program performing that work. And I apologize if I didn't hit on that before, but yeah, that's one of the factors as well.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it until Robin mentioned it because,
exactly.
When I sell brand new constructed homes, we have home inspectors go in and inspect it to make sure that the builder done what they needed to do. And then, as Robin was asking her question, I just thought about it, but I do see your point. Is in order, this program requires someone that's been approved to perform the work. Correct.
Yeah, again, because a home builder is looking at the house a little bit differently than somebody in an energy profession is looking at it, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So,
all right, but it still works.
Absolutely.
Robin, I think you have probably other questions. Any other questions, Robin?
I did have a second question, and because I'm totally unfamiliar with the process, and again, I apologize for coming on late, and if you've already touched on this, to repeat anything. If someone were having some type of work done in their house, and the area in which they're making the improvements, requires a contractor service and everything like that, would you also recommend that within the confines of that project that your services be obtained as well, depending on the scope of work that they're doing, because they could still lose some form of energy with that? Let's say if it's the remodelization of a basement or something.
Absolutely. And we had a previous situation where we discussed the same exact point. A gentleman was talking about building a living space up in his existing attic, and would it benefit him for me or our company to come out and do an inspection? And I said absolutely, because ultimately if you have any air loss through that space and then you start putting up drywall and you have any moisture issues that weren't addressed and you start putting up drywall, that's going to have a moisture issue, 4, 5, 10 years down the road. And you try to address those kinds of things before you close them in completely. Absolutely. That's a perfect timing to do something like that. Yep.
And in your expertise, what are the main, or in someone's home, what are the main areas that you oftentimes come across in terms of the lack of energy efficiency?
Usually it's the main part. It's the attic. Any kind of connection to the house from the attic. If there's not enough insulation in the attic, a lot of times you'll have 3 inches of insulation or maybe even 7 inches of insulation. But when that attic gets super hot, it's pushing that heat down against that little bit of insulation, and it's going to potentially come through the drywall. It's going to make the furnace and the AC work harder to compensate for that heat and or cool coming down through there. So the attic is the big place. We also, indicators are walls, exterior walls, looking at floors, basements, crawl spaces, anything that's attached to the house that's connected to the outside is where we want to stop that air from coming in. We call it a thermal and a pressure boundary. So the exterior of your house has to be insulated and it has to be air sealed. And those are the kinds of things that we're addressing and looking for the inefficiencies, any qualities on, I guess, if you will, on that too. We also look at HVAC equipment, furnaces, water heaters, air conditioning, anything over a specific years. Within 10 years, usually over 10 years, the program requires that we at least consider replacing it, show the homeowner what the replacement cost would be and or the rebate for doing that. And what we talked about briefly was...
So on average, you would recommend that someone obtain and utilize your services, every 5 to 10 years, just for like a home maintenance checkup, if you will?
Ideally, that wouldn't be a bad process. I don't know, and that's a great question that you bring up, Robin. I don't know. I don't think there's a deadline or a timeline on if you can do it again. That's something I'll certainly have to follow up on myself. But yeah, when you get that insulation up there, you put 20 inches of insulation in an attic. Over time, it is going to settle a little bit. So those things are key to check in later. And obviously, if you have somebody up there working and they're up there tromping through the insulation and smashing it down, then you're going to start losing R value as well. So yeah, there are some factors for sure that would require and suggest that somebody take another look at it down the road at some point for sure.
The reason why I pose that question is because just like every so often or within a certain number of years, let's say they come out with a new smoke detector, carbon dioxide smoke detector, and I would think that, for a service of which you provide, it wouldn't hurt for homeowners to, add that to their checklist as well, depending on how long they've owned the home, and especially if they're starting to notice, that the house is a little bit colder than normal and they're cranking the heat up a little bit higher or something. And oftentimes something like your service might be forgotten, but in the event that they, make that a part of like their home maintenance as a check mark, I think that's something that people might want to consider. I'm not a realtor or anything like that, but I'm just saying it might be something that folks might want to consider as well, especially if they haven't had the services conducted.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So Rob and Kyle did it on my home, and I was amazed at some of the things that I learned about energy efficiency and where energy loss is occurring in my home. So I think it would be beneficial pretty much for anyone that owns a home. And we even talked about if they're looking to sell their home. Say it again?
Yeah, I'm here. You broke up a little bit, but I hear you.
Yeah, so even if someone is looking to sell their home, it's a good opportunity for them to do this energy audit prior to putting the home on the market and see if there's some things that needs to be addressed. So he's been very helpful with that.
Absolutely, and something that Robin hit on just a few, just something that you hit on just a minute ago too, Robin, as far as maintenance and things down the road. You're talking about smoke detectors, CO detectors, and those are absolutely some things that have been upgraded. So I know a lot of folks have battery-operated smoke detectors in their homes and carbon monoxide detectors. Well, we've upgraded what we use. We don't have 9-volt batteries in the stuff that we put out. We have ones that have the lithium-ion batteries that last for 10 years. So those are key things to look at as well. I go as far as to say is furnace filters, making sure we're replacing those things. I mean, check them monthly. If you let it go for longer than that, you get that thing clogged up with dirt. It's making the furnace work that much harder. It's making the air conditioner work that much harder to push air through that filter and get it back into your furnace and then back through into your home. So there are some other little things for sure, but no, that was a great point.
Listen to the audience. Excuse me a minute, Robin. Let me just give them the number again. If you have any questions for Carl, he will answer your question right over the air. You can call in right now and get free advice about getting your home energy efficient. The number to call into the studio is 410-481-1010. Again, it's 410-481-1010.
You have a caller.
All right, caller, you're on the air.
Yes, good morning. I came on a little late, but I think you're talking about home efficiency, heating, and all of that. But I heard you talk about new homes, and I wanted to know, is this program available to seniors that may have been in their home for a long period of time? And also, do you think that check water leaks and things of that sort? And I didn't get the name of the company, and I heard you say something about a partnership with BG and E. So BGE comes out and do an efficiency with lights and all that check. So do you do all of that? And what's the distinction between you and BGE?
Charles, you go ahead. You can answer.
Absolutely, great question. So yeah, the affiliation that we have with BG&E is that we're a subcontractor. So we are qualified. We are certified in the program through them, which is an Energy Star program, as auditors and as contractors to actually do the work. So yeah, and the home age has no bearing on what we're doing. Ideally, even in the newer homes, even older homes are going to have issues. So no, there's no indication that you wouldn't be eligible for anything like that. I don't know if that answered your question completely. If it didn't, please continue that, and I'll try to further that.
Well, I'm trying to figure out if you call BGE, there's no indication that we will get you. They just send out maybe a contract. So do we go through BGE if you are a partner with them, or do we contact you directly, or what? And how do you your fees? I think BGE is free when they come out to do that. I'm just trying to get some distinction as a senior.
Understood. Well, I think you might be talking about a different program. I think the free one is called a QHEC. It's a Quick Home Energy Check, and that is free through that program. And we also do those. So yeah, you're right. If you call BG&E, they're probably going to send you to any specific contractor, and I'm not sure how they qualify who comes out. But our company is called Care Property Services, and our contact information, you can find us on the web. It's at callcarefirst.com/radio. And that's an indication on how you can reach us there. And we also have a phone number as well. It's 888-243-1936. And then also I think Donnell's mentioned that you also can contact his office if there's anything after the radio show, and he can also get you hooked up with us as well. But yeah, we are just a subcontractor through BG&E. And then I think the end of your question, the fee. So for this program, it's called a home performance inspection. And the value of the inspection is it's $400, but BG&E pays us $300 of it, and you only pay $100. So at the time of the inspection, we would collect $100. I would spend, just like at Donnell's home, I think I was there for almost 4 hours, from top to bottom, side to side, and getting all my information, all the diagnostic testing done, and you get a report out of that for the money, and then it gives you the indication on what the cost would be for you, and then what BG&E is going to offer as a rebate for doing those measures.
After you get the inspection, then you have to search on your own for the person to actually do the work. I mean, how do you know how to contact someone to do this type of work as a reputable person? And also, do you do water leaks and things of that sort? Is that considered part of your program? Did you have a faucet that's leaking or anything like that?
So I apologize, ma'am. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, so that's probably not considered a part of the energy contract, the water leaks.
Okay, so the first part of your question was how do you contact a contractor to do that? Well, as you have it, we also do the work. So we are a participating contractor that does the actual work. And that's something I think we might have mentioned earlier, whether you heard that or not, and I'll say it again, is that the audit has to be done by someone that's part of the program, which is a participating contractor, and then the work, the physical installation has to be done by a participating contractor as well. So BG&E also has those as a list, but our company, Care Property Services, does follow up with the work as well. So we kind of do it all from beginning to end. Secondly, about the plumbing leak, certainly that's something, depending on what it is, we could throw a cost in there for that. You're not going to see any kind of a rebate or a savings from us or from BG&E to fix that. We're not really designed for that in this program. It's more of an energy saving side. But if it's something minor, absolutely, it's something that we could potentially take care of and just, again, throw that cost in there and help you out with that. So, yeah, it wouldn't be out of the realm.
Oh, okay. Well, this is very informative, and I would like to also thank you for sharing a telephone number because many of us as seniors are not savvy enough to have the computers and the websites and all of that. So we still used to making phone calls. So thank you so very much for being considerate of that.
Absolutely. And did you get the phone number from us?
Yes, I have it. Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Let me give you my office phone number, ma'am. And if you want to call or you're having difficulty, feel free to call Exit Spivey Professional Realty. My name is Donnell Spivey, and that phone number is 410-465-0083. Okay, so that you got all our contact. And I'm sorry, but we're running out of time. I've been given my cue that we're at the end of the show. Ma'am, if you have any further questions, please call me or Kyle. We want to be of service to you, okay?
Absolutely.
All right, and Kyle, I so much appreciate you, man. This has been a great show, and I'm hoping that the listening audience get a lot out of it. A lot of times they won't call during the show. They'll call later, so you should expect some calls. And certainly if we get them at our office, we're going to refer them directly to you.
Oh, perfect, Donnell. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate the time and allowance to provide that information.
To the Real Estate Wealth Building Show. All right, y'all. Take care.
All right, bye-bye.
5 Year Professional Realty. If you have any real estate needs, calls, or questions, please call 41